Pakistan, a country always under attack with government issues, disease, poverty, and corruption. The country has not changed over the years. It has been influenced by groups like the Taliban and corrupted government leaders. If this power over Pakistan remains, the country will soon become a state adrift. There will be little to no education, the government will remain corrupted, the people will have to go into survival mode, the country will most likely be put under the rule of radical Islam once again, and the people will become divided ethnically. The country will soon be split and not a country at all anymore, but a place of terror and corruption.
A state adrift is one in which there is no progress. Improvements in education, civil rights, economic conditions, and government transparency are all stagnant because there are not enough people in government or in the citizenry who are willing to drive change. This state adrift situation is Pakistan's current situation, and it is her most probable future situation.
Pakistan has had their share in radical Islam. It was an awful decision for the government to make, but it did happen, and it took control of their country. I think in the future that it will also come back because of the Taliban and other groups over there that have been run with radical Islam, and I think that the country will be so engulfed in this belief of Islam that it'll all go downhill, and the Taliban or some other group over there that runs with radical Islam will take control of the country, and it will not be a pretty sight.
As we look into the history of Pakistan, we've seen that they have had many wars, many arguments, many debates with the surrounding nations, and even within their own nation. They haven't been around for very long, just shortly since the partition in 1947. And because of these reasons, the wars, the conflicts, they haven't really progressed a whole lot as a nation. They've been floating around, stayed adrift for quite a while. Because of these reasons, I feel that in the future, for Pakistan, they will continue to be a state adrift. The reason that I feel most strongly about this is because right now Pakistan as a nation is in survival mode. The majority of their people don't have easy access to electricity or water. They rely on the river for bathing, for water. They tap into the government's electricity and electricity that they can find. And because of this, they are in survival mode, just trying to stay alive day to day. Their standard of living for the average Pakistani is not very high right now. And because of that, the least of their worries is the governmental problems and developing a better nation. And because of that, I feel Pakistan will stay a state adrift for quite some time until more people like Malala stand up and make a voice for good. Malala helped Pakistan a lot as she raised her voice in trying to better Pakistan. And as more people do that, then they can eventually move out of becoming a state adrift and develop a better nation, develop a greater standard of living for the average Pakistani.
A snapshot of Pakistan's history and current events is one of very slow improvement. This is driven in large part because the government leaders struggle with corruption. The overwhelming corruption denies Pakistanis many things. Things like proper funds for education, fair trials, and the right to run a business without having to pay bribes. As long as corruption exists at all levels of Pakistani society, it will remain a state adrift.
Seeing how the education in Pakistan is now, I do not see it getting any better, especially if the Taliban or some kind of radical Islam group comes into power in the future. Already, the Taliban does not want women or girls to go to school, so in the future, I also think that they would take control of the men and the boys. I think that the Taliban or some kind of radical Islam would also only want everyone to join the military.